Hi guys, this is a video for chapter 5, lesson 3. So before we start chapter 5, lesson 3, I wanted to do a review problem with you from the last lesson. For example, I have 12x minus 3 equals 4x plus 13. So in my last video, I talked about combining your like terms and bringing the numbers together first. I wanted to go through this and talk about combining your variables first. And so you can actually use the addition and subtraction property of equality to write the equation with the variable on the same side. So if I bring this 4x over by subtracting it, that takes that 4x away. I'm going to subtract, so this is the subtraction property of equality. I'm doing the same thing on both sides. Now I have 12x minus 4x, which is 8x minus 3 equals positive 13. So now that you've gotten to this point, this is a type of problem that you've done before. And so we can add 3 on both sides, combine our like terms with just the constants. And then I've got 8x equals 16. Then divide by 8 on both sides, x equals 2. So I know that when I was explaining this last time, maybe combining the numbers actually makes it more confusing. So if you want to combine your variables first, then you're left with an equation that you've been working out all chapter 4 is an equation like this type of equation where you just have one variable. And then that might help you work this out a little more like naturally, okay? So today we're going to be introducing inequalities. So think about what is an inequality. Now, we kind of mentioned this in class, right? Inequalities are basically these symbols that we see. So we see less than, right? More than, less than or equal to, and more than or equal to, greater than or equal to, right? So what we're going to do is just read some phrases and decide how we would write out an inequality. So let's go back to our study guide. And on our study guide, we're basically going to look for these keywords. And here, this chart really gives us more than just what I gave you on the little board there. But less than or fewer than, right? Greater than, more than, exceeds. Like these are all keywords that we would see when it comes to comparing two values using these inequalities. So you can kind of go over these and use this chart as an extra resource if you need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through the words. If it says fewer than 70 students attended the last dance, we're going to now bring in a variable to represent a value that we don't know and compare it to the information that we do know. So the symbol S, maybe that represents the students who attended the last dance. And it was fewer than 70. So there are fewer, right, students that attended the last dance than 70. So we could say S is less than 70. So let's read through these on the bottom here. The maximum diving depth is no more, so no more than 75 feet below sea level. So 75 feet below sea level. So if something's below sea level, that's going to be negative 45. And it's no more than this. So that means you can't have whatever this negative 75 is, that's the greatest. So whatever your amount is, the maximum diving depth, let's say D for diving depth, can't be more than that. And so could it equal? I think so. It could be equivalent to negative 45, but not more than. Okay. An adult male elephant can weigh over 12,000 pounds. So do we know how much an adult male elephant weighs? I don't think so. So I might use E and 12,000 as my two values that I'm comparing. And it weighs over, which means the elephant should be weighing more. So I'm going to make that as greater than. The maximum fee for any student is $15. So maximum, meaning the most, right? $15 is the maximum fee. So if I have 15 and I'm comparing that to the fee, the $15 is the most, and it probably includes that 15 because it could be 15. That's the most it could be, that the fee has to be less than or equal to 15. You must be at least 38 inches tall to ride the roller coaster. So let's say your height is compared to 38. So you have to be at least 38 inches. Could you be taller than 38 inches to ride? I think so, right? So your height could be more than 38 or equal to, right? 38, but it can't be less than. If it's less than, you're not tall enough to ride. So now what we're going to do is we're going to solve an inequality where the variable is given to us. Okay, so we're going to work out this equation with knowing what the variable represents. And then we're going to decide if our statement is true. So in this example, we've got 5y minus 6 is less than 14 and y equals 5. So we're going to plug in y equals 5 in place of where y is, and then work this out. When we work this out, for example, in this problem, 5 times 5 minus 6 is 19, and then 14 is right here. So 14 is actually not less than, sorry, 19 here. 19 is not less than 14. So this statement would be false because this is not a true statement. So let's take a look at these. I think I'm going to switch over to the whiteboard because I don't have enough room on this to do. So m plus 8 is greater than or equal to 5, greater than or equal to 5. M equals negative 3. So I'm going to plug in negative 3 in place of m and work this out. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. 5 is 5 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, because if I have this or equal to sign, then this checks out and this works. It could be equal. So I'm going to say that this is a true statement. You can write that down on your study guide if you want to. Number 6. Okay, number 6, we've got 4 minus p is less than negative 2, and p equals 6. So we're going to plug that in. 4 minus 6 is less than negative 2. 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and then I'm going to bring everything else down. Is negative 2 less than negative 2? No, those are equal amounts, right? So this does not check out for us. No, and we would say not true, right? So not true. All right, number 7. If you want to pause the video and work this out, please do. Self-check to see where you're at with everything. B equals negative 1, so I'm going to plug negative 1 in place of B. Work this out. Negative 1 plus 12 is 11. That is, in fact, less than 15. So yes, that is true. That works for us. Okay, number 8. J minus 7 is less than negative 8. J equals 0. So is negative 7 less than negative 8? Because 0 minus 7 is negative 7, right? It is. So that's true. That works for us. All right, so that's all you're doing there. You're comparing the terms. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to graph our inequalities. So with our inequalities, if something is greater than or less than, basically we know that if we were on a number line, x being greater than 8 means x could be all kinds of numbers. It could be 9, it could be 10, it could be 11, it could be 100, it could be 52, right? There's so many numbers I could possibly put for x to replace that value. So if x is greater than 8, we are going to mark where 8 is on the number line and then shade the direction that is greater than 8. So because greater than 8 goes towards the right, we're going to shade an arrow pointing to the right. Now, because it's just less than, we're going to keep our circle open. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, this equal sign means we're going to shade in the circle to mean that it includes 8 in the inequality. So x is less than 8, less than or equal to 8 means I'm going to shade in 8 and then shade in an arrow pointing in the direction that is less than 8. So let's try a few of these. Going down here, looking at number 1, x is greater than 7. So I'm going to circle 7. It's not including 7, so I'm going to keep my little circle, the little bubble open. And I'm going to shade towards the right because x being greater than means the numbers are towards the right. Those are all greater than 7. And I'm going to make a little arrow pointing that direction. Number 2. A is less than or equal to -2. So I'm going to shade in this -2 bubble right here because it includes -2 and it's less than. So I'm going to go this direction here, going this direction. Number 3, I'm going to circle where it has -4 and then we're going to shade into the left. Okay, you guys, I think you get the idea. Hopefully you do. If you're not sure still, you can keep watching. If you get it, then why don't you pause and try a few of these on your own. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep going here. W is greater than -9, going to the right. T is greater than or equal to, I'm going to shade that in, bubble it in, going to the right because it's greater. And then number 6, -11 is right here. I'm not going to bubble it in because it doesn't include 11 and is less than -11. I'm going to go to the left there, less than. All right, so let's see if we can write an inequality for these on the bottom. It looks like I don't have a bubbled in. So whatever these numbers are, they're greater than -3. So I'm going to say x is greater than -3. Over here, it looks like whatever, I'm comparing it to 0. So I'm comparing a number to 0, not including 0. And x is going to be less than 0. So anything less than 0. Down on number 9, this bubble's shaded in. So I'm going to include -15 and x looks like it's greater than or equals to -15. I'm going to have that equal sign because this is bubbled in. Here I've got x is less than or equal to 8. So it includes 8, less than or equal to 8. All right, so hopefully writing these out is not too crazy, but that's all I have for you guys today.